Hmm?
The biggest domestic issues driving U.S. voters in the 2026 cluster around economic strain, healthcare costs, democracy concerns, immigration, and affordability pressures. These themes show up consistently across multiple 2026 polling sources. So we will be discussing this on tonight. So let's go.
Let's go. Welcome to America. Let's go. Let's go. Welcome to America. Let's go. Let's go. Welcome to America Unfiltered. Overseer Ron, I'm looking at a nation. No spin, no filter. Just the truth. I'm looking at a nation, standing at a crossroads. People chasing dreams while carrying heavy loads. Prices going up, paychecks staying low. Everybody asking where the middle class go. Turn on the TV, hear the same old fight. Left versus right, every single night. But out in the streets where the real folks live, people need solutions, not another negative. Working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Trying to put food on the family table to eat. Is the dream fading, or is it still alive? Yeah. America Unfiltered. Let's tell the truth tonight. We're talking about what people need. Small town factories closing down.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to another edition of America Unfiltered. I'm your host. I'm Overseer Ron with my co-host, Mr. X, all the way from Dallas, Texas. How you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Is it still hot?
Yeah, we got a pretty hot today. We had a scorcher today.
Okay. You don't have any fires?
No, not around here. Thank you. Not around here.
Okay. So we come tonight. Let's get right to it. We're running a little late. What are the biggest things that the voters are concerned with, and probably that will lead them to the polls on this upcoming election in November? We've already had midterms, so the upcoming election, they already had primaries. So the upcoming election, things are not going well in the United States of America as of right now. As for the common people, things are not well. We have high gas prices, we have high inflation, health people losing their health care. Okay. And then also, the country is being faced with what we call the tariffs. The taxes that been placed upon different countries. So, Mr. X, what's the number? What is, in your opinion, what's the number one thing that's driving the voters to the poll on this upcoming November?
Cost of living.
Cost of living.
Gas, groceries, rents, mortgages, and the ability to cope with all the above.
Okay. According to the U.S. polling data.com, 54% of voters cite the economy as their top issue. Tariffs, driven prices, increases, and lingering affordability concerns dominate voter and anxiety. 72% rate the economy as poor or fair, and nearly 95% say higher prices have impacted them. So, Mr. X, why is the polls in these races are so close? We have a Republican majority in the House. We have a Republican majority in the Senate. So my question to you on tonight, Why? And when we look at these polls, why are the polls so close?
Hmm.
If we're witnessing this type of actually this type of I'm trying to use the word this type of turmoil in the United States of America. We're paying more for food, gas prices. People lost their health care. A lot of people lost their jobs. Why is the polls even close? Or do you think the polls really that close? Do you think these elections are really that close? That's coming up in November.
People are torn between voting for their stomachs and voting on their principles. So they have to make a decision.
Okay, when you said
And
the principle, can you elaborate on it? What's the principle?
Which one is more important? Well, stomachs we're relating to the cost of living, just everyday living, trying to make it with what money you have or your salary, whether you make a decent salary or you're a part of the working poor. That's
Okay.
that's one of the issues that people are going to have to decide, where to put their vote, where to mark that X or what have you.
Okay.
And then the moral issue comes into play with the people they're voting for and how they comport themselves as so-called leaders and what have you. So, did we go with politicians who are lying at every turn, but you're hoping that they'll do the right thing, or you'll give the other guys a chance because your pockets are hurting and you just can't take it anymore. That's the big decision people have to make.
Okay. So when you're talking about the principles, you're talking about like the conservatives have principles. Well, Democrats have principles too, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, both have principles, right? Yeah.
Right. And so the conservatives are saying, even though things are bad right now in the United States of America, they cannot vote for a Democrat because of their principles or what they believe in. Conservatives don't believe they don't believe in the same principles as most of the Democrats, and vice versa. So that's why the elections are so close now, even though things are bad in America. Okay. But still, you hear some of them say they can't find themselves voting for a Democrat because of the principles of what the Democrats stand for.
Yeah.
That's why the polls, even when you look out there in your state, the state of Texas, Tallarico really should be he should be up ahead a lot.
Right. But he's made a lot of statements that have left people kind of like wondering, you kind of lost me there, guy, so that's what happens when politicians try to. Pardon me? I didn't hear you. I lost you there for a second.
What?
No, I lost you for a second. What was your question?
Okay. Yeah. When we look out in Texas, in the Senate race in Texas, Tallarico and what's his name? The one on the Republican side.
You're talking about
Who's Tallarico running against?
You're talking about Mr. Paxton?
Paxton, yes. All right. When we look at his past history, right, and we look at how bad things are now, even in the state of Texas, in the United States, and yet when we look at the Senate, the polling, saying that it's pretty much dead even. So what is that showing us?
People are having a hard time to choose their man because, again, do I vote for a guy who's had affairs and cheated on his wife, but he's supposed to be held to a higher standard because of the high office that he's going to hold or wants to hold? Or do I vote for the new guy who said some off the wall and far out things that he knew were far out and off the wall, but he still said them and then had to clean up his statements later on. So, that's the dilemma that people have right now as far as the voters.
Okay. So once again, some people are voting their pocketbooks, and some are voting their principles. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
Yep.
But yes, even though things is being as bad as it is, they still holding on to their principles. And some of them, don't matter how bad it is, the economy, and they still will not vote for a Democrat. And vice versa. I think you have more Democrats that will vote for a Republican than Republicans that will vote for a Democrat.
Quite possibly, because sometimes the Democrats get fed up with the wishy-washy, straddling both sides of the fence that their candidates are doing. And sometimes that frustration drives them to vote for candidates of the opposite side, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They rank.
When you say outlandish things, you got to remember that there are a lot of Democrats that are also very conservative.
Yes.
So when you have a guy like Tallarico saying that there are many genders, folks are going to look at you like, huh? What?
Do you think he really believe it?
I don't think he believes it. I think he just said it to appease a certain voting bloc.
Okay.
But he said it anyway, so now he's on the hook for that.
He's on the hook for it, yes.
Yeah.
But even though it's corrupt as Paxton is, and that goes to show you, I think they're doing well just to be, tied up with him in a red state of Texas. He has to be doing pretty well. But the bottom line is, like we said, they're going to weigh their options.
Right.
And they're going to vote their principles or their pocketbook.
Right.
Now, some of the people that's voting for their principles are saying this time that, hey, it has gotten real bad here in the country. Right. And they're going to vote their pocketbook.
Right.
No. All right. So the second thing that's driving voters to the polls in 2026 is healthcare costs.
Among other things, yeah.
Yeah. This is the second thing. It's ranked number 2. 38 to 48% importance, depending on the poll. Healthcare debt and medication. Affordability are major stress points affecting 79% of voters. Now, my question is, if we are for the people, okay, if we are for the people, why not expand Medicaid? It's a lot of, let's be honest, it's a lot of poor people live in the United States of America. And the fact of the matter, when you're talking about minimum wage, what, $7.50 now?
Yeah, some cases, yes.
Yeah, okay, but there are a lot of people that go to work, but they're still everybody can't have a job paying $30 or $40 an hour,
Right.
right?
Correct. Correct.
Those jobs are not that plentiful. So the people that makes the minimum wage, okay, and still need a little help. Why not help them? But we can send trillions of dollars and billions and trillions of dollars overseas to fight illegal, unnecessary wars. But you're saying to your people here in the United States of America that we can send all this money overseas, but we cannot help our own people. Don't you think that I think that's that's immoral, I think.
Well,
My opinion.
it's not by accident. It's designed to keep a certain segment of society underfoot and in a constant struggle. Imagine what free healthcare, medical, care would do for millions of people across the country. That would free up a large um, segment of their financial, issues,
Mhm.
and it would bring the stress down tremendously for millions of people. When I have to worry if I get sick or I get hurt on the job, I know that I'll be taken care of, and I won't have to go into bankruptcy afterwards. But
Mhm.
it's designed to keep a certain segment of the community down or underfoot and in a constant struggle. That's
Mhm.
why. That's why they don't want it. Yeah,
But
countries around the world where there's free healthcare.
so
Yeah,
let me
many
ask
countries around the world. It's not impossible.
you,
It's
okay.
very possible, and it's not that hard to do.
Okay, would you say then that it's immoral when you
Yes,
have all these poor people here in the United States they're really looking for there's some that won't work, okay? But there's some that's looking for a hand up, not a hand out.
right.
And when we want the richest country on the planet, and you telling the people that need a hand up that we're not gonna help you.
Yeah,
Okay, they are working, but they're not making enough money.
right.
Okay. So with those people slashing healthcare, closing rural hospitals, cutting the Affordable Care Act, trying to do it with the Affordable Care Act. And so what I'm thinking is these people don't vote their best interest. They're just loyal to a party, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're cutting healthcare, you're affecting common people. Are you not?
I'm gonna say just black people mostly, because
Most of
I don't like to use the word colored or people of color or marginal groups or fringe communities. A lot of those are catchphrases for other groups except black folks. So I like to be precise in when I'm speaking. It's
well,
happened. It's the mindset of the country. Look, this is not the first time we've seen something like this. Many years ago, you had a Southerner running for high office. His name was George Wallace here in the South.
in Alabama.
Yeah, okay, there you go, George Wallace. And when he first started campaigning as a up and coming politician, he went and appealed to rural white people and told them, "Look, you get together with the black people, We could be a powerful voting bloc, and I can get a lot of things done for you. You know what they told him?
Yeah.
If that means that black people are going to become economically self-sufficient and on par with us whites, we'd rather stay poor. We don't want that. Now think about that. So after that, he realized that he would have to run as a hardcore Southern racist Dixiecrat just to get elected to office. And that's the mentality with the both parties today. Still,
Okay.
they want to get blood from a pea. You know, so don't have free healthcare, because free healthcare would be a tremendous break for the masses of black people.
Well, what about
Other people would benefit too now, but the main issue is they don't want that, because that will be a great benefit towards black people, and that would elevate their status tremendously. So, it's just like Ronald Reagan. Before Reagan, black folks were going to college at alarming rates and getting all type of degrees, advanced degrees. When the Republicans saw that, they started to, to make changes where now you have to pay these exorbitant fees just to go to college, just to hurt the black masses. Now it's ended up hurting everybody. Say they haven't learned their lesson. Yeah, the focus is on us, but eventually that poison that you try to get us with spreads to other communities. Now everybody's crying. That's Reaganomics. That's what it was about. Because somehow black folks getting degrees, that was a threat.
Okay.
They're getting smart, they're getting intelligent. No, let's make it harder now for them. Well, now it's hard for everybody to go to college. Get your bachelor's or master's or what have you, all because of that small-minded, swamp running, backwoods thinking, with about a hillbilly in the White House.
All right. The third thing that's driving, according to the U.S. polling data.com, the third thing that's driving people to the polls: democracy, the rule of law, and institutional trust. A rising issue, 32 to 38%, cite democracy protection as a top concern. Concerns include election integrity, rule of law, and institutional stability. Now, this is what I have a problem with. Okay, we have to sit here every day, almost every day, and listen to this garbage about election interference. Why are we hearing this? And the Republicans won everything last time. If the election is so rigged, then they must rig the election. Okay, but we hear this. They're putting so much effort and so much time into this. Somebody's stealing the election, and they won everything.
Yeah, that's to put fear into the hearts of the white elite and the white conservatives and the white racists, that somehow they're, they can't lose their country. They want it how it was back then, when they had all the cards and made all the rules, and they could police everything, police everybody. That's to stir up that fear in them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they sowing this discord about election integrity, and there's nothing wrong with the election. They won everything, so how could it be election fraud.
Yeah, but they know that there's a segment out there, large segment out there that is dangerously stupid and want to believe that to be true. As long as they say it long enough, it becomes the truth to those people.
But they want everything though.
Yeah.
They got the House, they got the Senate, they got the presidency.
Right.
So why we didn't have to sit here and listen to this foolishness every week about
Yeah.
election integrity?
Yeah, election fraud and all that good stuff.
All
Yeah.
that mess. I think we have some of the most secure elections in the world.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It'd be hard.
Nothing is perfect, but as far as elections go, the United States has pretty good, secure electoral process.
Yes.
Has monitors, constantly monitoring the process. People at the polling stations keeping an eye on stuff. I mean, so.
And at that polling station, you have what? Democrats and Republicans. Do we not?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have all Democrats and we don't have all Republicans.
Correct.
We have Democrat and Republican.
Correct.
So
very transparent.
I don't get it.
Like I say, these people are not stupid. They might be wicked, but they're wickedly wise. These are wise people you're dealing with, and they know that they can play on people's deep-seated prejudices and fears by saying certain things and pressing certain buttons, using certain key words and phrases. You're not stupid. They study. They have experts and think tanks that study this, and then report to them. So they're not stupid. Nor are they dumb. They're very wise.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the number 4 thing that is driving people to the polls, 2026, immigration and border policy. It says 29 to 37%, according to U.S. polling data. 29 to 37% rank immigration as a top issue. Voters are divided. 46.5% said ICE has gone too far. 28.1% want ICE abolished. Where do you stand on this issue? Now, we do need borders.
Right.
We do need border control. I don't think we should open up no borders and just let people just flow in this country whenever they want to come.
No,
not at all. We're a nation of laws, and if they come here illegal, they're breaking the law.
Correct.
But at the same time, it's a sad setting to see. It's a sad sight to see ICE agents going into schools and churches, rounding up kids. That's a sad sight. Don't you think so?
Yeah, right there. That's a spectacle that you don't need.
Okay.
That whether you're right you may be right legally, but wrong in how you carry it out.
Right.
So, and then visually, the visuals are bad.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like you said, with President Obama, he did the same thing, but his was, subdued, pretty much under the table. It wasn't out in the open, but I think they're doing this purposely to show, make examples out of people, to scare the other people into either self-deporting or turning themselves in. The visuals are not good. And then too, you have situations where gentleman, the nurse, Mr. Preddy, was shot and killed in a struggle with agents, and that really was bad. That was horrible situation and the optics were horrible. That really hurt their mission as agents. And it didn't help with the what's her name? Was her Pam Bondi?
Pam Bondi, yes.
By saying that, and just outlandish statements about the guy being a terrorist and all, that was just uncalled for. That's just being overzealous.
Okay.
Yeah. And just thinking that you can actually fly that by the general public, and they're going to agree with you and be okay with that. Especially when they saw what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have tasered the guy. That was unnecessary.
Yeah, I think they have gone too far. I think if my memory serves me correct, the ICE has become the largest law enforcement, I believe. They're bigger than the FBI. No, a lot of FBI agents lost their job under Trump. But ICE now is bigger than the FBI. If my memory serves me correct. Yeah, we're a nation of laws. We need to close our borders. We don't need to have people just coming in here. But at the same time, they're still due respect. They're not animals. I don't think you take the little kids and put them in cages like they're animals. That's not good. Everybody's due respect, no matter where you're from. No. What's your nationality is. Everybody's due respect. All right, the fifth thing that Mr. X that's driving people to the polls 2026 is abortion and reproductive rights. 35% list abortion as a major issue. Still a powerful mobilizer, especially for Democrats and independents. What is your take?
Those that are anti are pretty much religious conservative fundamentalists, and they have a lot of influence in Washington D.C.
Yes.
over their elected officials. So that's always going to be a fight that's not going to be soon resolved. And then you have the independent-minded, who are, a woman has a right to do whatever she wants with her body, which is true. But that's a fight it's not going to end anytime soon. And people are heavily invested in from both sides. Invested as far as they gone to perpetrate violent acts against other people of the opposing side. So, that's a very polarizing topic, polarizing issue.
Yes.
What the Supreme Court did too, where a lot of those justices of the Supreme Court level, when they handed down that decision, some of them, when they were going through Senate confirmation hearings, said that they would do the opposite.
Yes.
So,
yes.
that leaves a lot of people with a bitter taste as far as having respect for the Supreme Court or any type of integrity for it, for that institution. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The sixth thing that's driving people to the polls 2026. Affordability and household financial stress, not just the economy. Specific affordability pain points, 44% going out less, 32% cutting non-essentials, 25% delaying major purchases, medication affordability impacting 79% of the people. This cuts across all demographics and parts. So the affordability is another issue that's driving the people to the polls.
Yeah.
Yes. Things
Well,
are pretty bad.
yeah, I mean, and especially too with this illegal war that they started against Iran, and then Iran reacting in a way that they never thought they would by closing the Strait of Hormuz, and that causing the price of oil and other certain goods to just rise.
Mhm.
Even the conservatives are looking at it and say that should have never happened. That was unnecessary and should have never happened.
Yes.
I could see Marco Rubio, when he was asked about that, he was actually still a bold-faced lie. Say, well, the Iranians, we as far as the Iranians go and why we attacked them, we hit them before they hit us. We had good intel that they were planning to hit us. That's a lie.
Yeah, that was a lie.
No such thing.
No, they were not. But look at where the country is at.
Yeah.
This is what the people voted for.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. Well, not what they wanted. They got what they asked for. They didn't want this.
I can tell you that this is a very dangerous situation, because some of the same people that voted for these guys, they feel betrayed, and it's happened in recent history where people like that have actually made assassination attempts on certain elected officials. They better be careful.
Yes.
And the worse it gets, most of these guys are going to have to watch their backs.
Yes. Yes. Okay. The seventh thing they say is driving people to the polls, 2026, crime and public safety. 24% cite crime as a top issue. Republicans hold a strong advantage here. Why is that? Because Donald Trump be telling the police officers to beat these young men up.
Listen, it's a simple solution for all of that. You're doing it the hard way. There's an easy way. Very simple. Bring back jobs, manufacturing jobs, skill jobs that require skill training for the youth. And when you have, it's not rocket science. You have high job rate. You have a low crime. Everybody's working. They're too busy making a buck. They don't have time to be idle, go out there and get into trouble.
Yes.
Right? No jobs, high crime. And they can solve this. Like they already did it. Back in the 1860s, they had a large amount of immigrants coming to this country from Europe, and particularly the Irish. But when these young men got to the East Coast, mostly in places like New York and whatnot, Boston and what have you, they were young, full of energy, and nothing to do. What they created? Gangs. And they started terrorizing their own neighborhoods and their own people. And the government saw this. You know what they said? Let's create jobs and skills for these young men. And that lowered the crime. There was even a movie about it. It was called The Gangs of New York. It's about that period of time, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis. They made a movie about it, and they found a way to get those young white boys off the street and to get them into skills and working and stuff, and took away those idle hands and made them productive. Because they were, they were getting out of control. They were killing one another, and knife fights, shootings, robberies. It was horrible. So if they could do that back in United States, 1860s United States, they can do it now. They just don't want to because the demographic is different.
Yeah.
That's being affected.
Okay.
So it's a hypocritical talking point again to stir up people's deep-seated prejudices and racist mindsets and their and their outlooks on whatnot, or their inner feelings towards others that don't look like them. It's not that hard. High jobs, low crime. Low jobs, high crime. That's anywhere you go.
Okay. What about, they said number 8 thing according to the U.S. polling data, Social Security and Medicare. 22% list these programs as a priority. Aging voters and retirement insecurity keep this issue high.
Well, again, it goes back again to why healthcare is not free. And anything that's attached to it, because it would ease a burden on a large segment of the population that they don't want to see having the burden lifted. They want them in a permanent state of suffering and squalor and, scratching and surviving.
Okay. The number 9 issue that's driving people to the polls 2026 is trade and tariffs. Trade and tariffs. A newly elevated issue at 21%, driven by tariffs-related price increases. Voters increasingly link tariffs to economic strain. What do you say, Mr. X, about this trade war and these tariffs? Are they causing problems in the United States of America?
Yeah, especially to some, not some, especially to a lot of manufacturers and what have you, and people who have to import items that they want to sell to the greater community. Yeah, it causes problems. Because now if I can't get a product the way I used to, now I gotta raise the price and then pass the price on to the consumer. So yeah, it's a big problem.
Okay, so who's really paying for these tariffs? America?
Again, the consumer.
We are.
Yeah.
Who buy the goods?
Yep. Crack rolls downhill. Doesn't roll uphill.
So the tariff thing that the president thought it was such a bright idea is not a good idea.
See, that comes from arrogant thinking that only you can set the price for the rest of the world. No, live in a global market now. You're not the big boy on the block anymore. You have other economies out there that are producing and exporting goods that are just as efficient, better than yours. So you have to accept that. Can't get mad.
So the international trade, we should always keep the international trade open.
You have to. The global economy is all interconnected now.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go back to 200 years ago. That's gone. Not coming back.
Yeah.
You just have to be fair and start trying being arrogant and trying to be a bully.
Okay.
If you, that's true. If this country wasn't so wasteful, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems. It wastes a lot of resources and goods.
We waste a lot, especially fighting a war within Iran. That's a waste of money.
Yeah, and spend a lot of unnecessary money overseas. Yeah.
Yes. But guess what he's gonna have to do? He's gonna have to pay for those part of the agreement. He got to pay to build those countries back. They got to pay to build Iran back. That's part
of the deal and the releasing of their funds and stuff. That's going to take care of that. Plus, they're charging a toll now for shipping coming through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's a lot. That money will be more than enough to rebuild. Believe me, and they're going to do it fast.
So will they control the Strait of Hormuz? Will they control it permanently?
That remains to be seen.
Because before we went there,
was open, was free.
Yes, it was free.
Right.
That makes no sense.
Right.
Zero sense.
Lying and starting a war. Have they not learned from when George Bush and his administration made that debacle, lying on Saddam Hussein? Have they not learned? And the answer is no. But arrogant.
Okay.
And North Korea just sent a very powerful message. They just launched, was it over 10 of their ballistic missiles from one of their naval vessels, right after the other. And they launched one, and launched two. They launched about 10, I think, or 12 in quick succession, long-range ballistic missiles from one of their warships. So that's a signal right there. Let you know, don't try it with me.
Wow.
Then other countries are seeing that, and that's why now they're arming up, and they're turning away from the West, and they're starting to trade with just their partners in the East and stuff. Countries like for instance, those 3 countries in Africa, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. They kicked out the French out of their countries, expelled the Americans, kicked them out militarily. And now, and in the last 4 years, their leaders, Assimi Goïta, General Chiani, and what's the young man's name from Burkina Faso? Ibrahim Traoré. They've turned their countries around. Their economies are growing. They've taken hold of their gold reserves. No more of that being taken out by these foreign companies and making all the profit. And the countries that they're taking them from are left to just the scraps, and all that's over with. And their weapons programs have ratcheted up. They're getting weapons from not Europe or the United States, getting weapons from Turkey, China, North Korea, Iran, and not only that. Once they acquire these weapons, they have their own scientists and engineers and stuff break them down, which is called reverse engineering. And now they're building their own weapon systems because they realize that the Western powers are stubborn and they're always going to try to come back and cause some sort of chaos or havoc to cause your government to fall because they got their feelings hurt because you told them you're not my master anymore. I dictate my destiny and my future. And I control my resources now. France, England, Portugal, Netherlands. You're not our colonial masters anymore. And we're preparing for the day that you try something. We'll be ready. So the rest of the world and the rest of the African nations are seeing these three countries rise and are becoming powerful every day. Now they have gold reserves, stuff that they never had. They're refining their own products, making their own goods and stuff. They're stopped importing stuff that they used to import. They've become self-sufficient and becoming more self-sufficient every day. Europe doesn't like that. Europe likes you to, and the Western world likes you to be dependent on them. So whenever you have a issue with them, they can pull away your goods and stuff and punish you. Can't do that anymore when you are making your own stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
What's the old saying here among the older folks? Mama might have her own, Papa might have his own, but was it God bless the child that has his own?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. All right. The number 10 thing that's driving the people to the polls, voters to the poll, this 2026 is housing and affordability. 18% cite housing as a major concern. Rising rents and home prices continue to squeeze younger and lower income voters. I think that should be number one. Don't you think so?
Yeah. because I mean, years ago a guy could get out on his own with just a high school diploma, find a good paying job and get in his apartment, and years down the road get a nice home and stuff when he started a family. Can't do that anymore. Most of these college educated people have to move back with their parents. Can't afford to live on their own. That dream is over with because prices of a home, automobile is just ridiculous. And they're not even designed that well. They fall apart after a few years, meaning the houses quickly put together with subpar material and whatnot. Looks good at first. And you're paying, $250,000, $500,000 for, the same house and square footage that just a few years ago was $60,000, $70,000. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Average rent for maybe a 2-bedroom apartment shouldn't be no more than, to be quite honest, anywhere in these United States, shouldn't be no more than maybe $600-700.
Okay.
It's just ridiculous. And you have to ask yourself, when will it stop? You can't just keep rising prices. It has to stop. Everything that has a limit. But greed and this unquenchable thirst for more money. When is enough is enough?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, are they waiting on a change in Congress and the Senate and the presidency?
I mean, like I said, I see a mass dissatisfaction among the populace, where it's going to lead to a lot of violence and stuff towards the political structure, and that's what's going to cause change. It's going to come from the bottom up, not from the top down.
Okay.
These politicians have gotten too arrogant, and they've just become disassociated with reality. They're the same ones that vote for raises amongst themselves, but tell the common man that he has to be satisfied with chump change and a bareback minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those members of Congress have free health care.
Yeah.
See the hypocrisy?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I see the hypocrisy. But I just feel, this is my personal opinion, I feel something different about this 2026 election. I feel something different because I look at the state of the country. Okay, and I feel that 2026, I could be wrong, but this is just my feeling. I feel that, a lot of the Deep South, they vote conservative no matter what. Right? Alabama, Georgia's changing. A lot of southern states now are changing. Tennessee. I think I'm beginning to see it. I feel like it's going to be a shift this time. I could be wrong, but that is the way I feel because of the condition of the country. Even though a lot of them still going to vote Republicans no matter what, because they're loyal, they diehards. But the ones that really been affected, a lot of them, I'm riding through Alabama, looking at some yards, and I'm seeing Doug Jones signs in some yards that I wouldn't see a Democrat sign in those people's yards. Right? So I'm beginning to...
They feel betrayed.
They feel betrayed, yes. The question was asked to African American voters by Donald Trump. What you have voted Democrat all your life, what have you gotten for it? So the question now, let's reverse it to the Republicans, conservatives. You've been voting Republicans all your life. You've been voting Republicans in every election. And Republicans pretty much dominate the South, conservative states. What have they gotten for it?
War, unnecessary wars, voters' rights trampled on and restricted in some areas and districts. That's what they've gotten. And money that could have been put into their communities disappearing overseas. That's what they've gotten. And they voted for it. So hoping it would just hurt the other guy.
Well, we are in dangerous, unprecedented times right now. The rule of law is being violated. It only pertains to certain people. We're looking at the rule of law. Some people getting away with murder, while some not. Democracy, I think, is at stake in 2026 election. And nearly every voter, Democrat or Republican, is having a problem with affordability. It's universal. People still, the idea of immigration and, tougher laws on immigration, people still want that, but that's not what's dominating the airwaves every day now. It's not, when Biden was president, immigration dominated the airwaves. Why? Because he opened up the borders and let a lot of illegals in. But now, it's not per se dominating the airways. What we hear most of now is affordability. And we hear more about the tariffs. They're affecting us. That's really affecting the people. So, Mr. X, before we dismiss tonight, before we conclude, what is your issue? What will drive you to the poll in 2026? We want to hear from you. What is you dissatisfied with? Not just one thing, but what are you dissatisfied with in America right now?
The high prices of the basic necessities.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be the major driving point for me.
So you pretty much going to vote your pocketbook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Average guy in the street doesn't care about NATO.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't care about ballistic missiles. You know, being positioned close to Russia or the Sixth Fleet.
Yes.
In the Mediterranean or the Indian Ocean. He doesn't care about that.
Yes.
He cares about, can I buy enough food for myself and my family? Can I make a choice, an easy choice between buying gas and buying groceries? I shouldn't have to ponder.
Right.
That's what he cares about. You know, yeah, am I going to be able to keep my house, pay the mortgage, not kicked out in the streets because of apartment rents are just ridiculous. That's what he cares about. He doesn't care about all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You know doesn't care what the foreign minister of Pakistan just said, or the Secretary General of the UN. He doesn't care about that.
Yes. Okay. Well, we thank everyone for watching tonight. Let us not to forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to leave it right there. We hope people get motivated, and we hope they are already motivated to go to the polls and cast their vote come this November. We hope that people will wake up finally and start going to the polls and not vote a party, but vote your pocketbook. Okay, you can be loyal to a party and your party not doing anything for you, making it worse for you. It's time to get away from all this party. I'm loyal to the party, but we're not getting anything for it. Vote.
Yep, no tangibles, no vote.
No vote. All right, we're going to leave it right there. We're going to say good night to everyone.
All righty.
Night.
Thank you for watching Liberation Whole. Thank you for watching Liberation Whole Life Center, the Center for Wholeness. Subscribe.